¿Hablas español?
Sprichst du Deutsch?
Kan du norsk?
If you used Babbel, you would. Babbel's conversation-based techniques teaches you useful words and phrases to get you speaking quickly about the things you actually talk about in the real world, with lessons handcrafted by over 200 language experts and voiced by real native speakers. Babbel is like having a private tutor in your pocket. Start speaking with Babbel today. Get up to 55% off your Babbel subscription right now at babbel.com/Spotify. Spelled BABBEL.com/Spotify. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Retirement isn't just about closing out your career. It's mornings that begin with a sunrise instead of an alarm, and the freedom to live the life you've always dreamed of. With a New York Life financial professional, you'll have the guidance to make it real, so your years of hard work become the life you've always imagined. Your life, New York Life, more powerful together. Start today at nyl.com.
It's been an embarrassing week to be a Desi person.
Wow.
In America Real.
Has it?
It's rough. It's rough. Our people are just the worst. It's terrible. It's terrible. I got tagged so many times in the last week to be like, I can't fucking wait to hear you and Raheel talk about what the fuck this lady is saying. And then I got tagged again. And that was about Zarna Garg and her daughter, as we say in New Jersey. And then I got tagged about Akaash Singh and Jocelyn saying, and then I got tagged about Nikki Haley's dumb fuck son Nilin, who was on Tucker Carlson's podcast or whatever. Yeah. Talking about how immigration, even legal immigration, is actually like disgusting. Oh, really? Okay. So anyway, on today's episode, we're going to talk about brown people embarrassing us.
Fun. Is that loud? Sorry.
It was so loud. But before we get into that, do you have anything in particular besides that you'd like to talk about? Let's just get it out of the way.
Oh, like the day-to-day stuff? I don't know. I mean, the world is on fire. Everything is terrible. What's the latest awful thing? I don't even know, man. Like, there isn't really anything in particular that is striking my fancy. It's just like, hey, it's too expensive for Christmas. Nobody has anything. Trump's telling everybody to calm down. Hey, it's just, you don't need a fucking doll.
Okay, I wanted to share two little things, two tidbits,
Yes.
because one is that the FIFA people gave Trump like a fake trophy.
They gave him they gave him a peace prize, because when you are looking for a peace prize, the people that you want it from is from the people in charge of soccer or football.
I was like, what? Like, it didn't make any sense to me. I was like, no, certainly this is a parody. It has to be a parody. This cannot be real. But alas, it was real. It was real. It was real. They said, we know you got looked over for the Nobel Peace Prize. What if we give you this soccer trophy with like hands like grabbing at it?
Mm-hmm.
It literally looks like in like Greek mythology, like the souls in the rivers of Haiti, like when you go down the boat,
like the river Styx.
The river Styx, yeah, in Haiti, and the arms are like trying to pull you in. That's what it looks like. But they're like trying to grab a soccer ball, and I think the soccer ball is Earth. So there's that. I was like, okay, cool, that makes sense. And then the other thing I saw just this week was Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy is at it again. This time he's teaming up with the head of the HHS, RFK Jr., and they're at the airport, and they're talking about really important things. Okay, first of all, we already talked about the dress code at the airport. That's really important. Well, part of their health plan is, you know what, when you look good, you feel good. Put on a nice outfit. But what if we introduced pull-up bars at the airport? they had a press conference where they talked about, and then, okay, by the way, every week somebody from the if it's like Pete Hegseth or Sean Duffy, and it's usually RFK is there, they're like, what if we just do like a pull-up competition? Like, it reminds me of, what did you used to call it, the man challenge or something?
What do you mean used to call it? It is called a man challenge, and it still exists.
So sometimes when we get together with the cousins, Raheel likes to propose this thing where all the boy cousins do a thing where they do various exercises. What is it like? It's just push-ups, isn't it?
I don't like how you are minimizing the man challenge. We do we go to batting cages.
Okay.
We go to mini golf. We go to
very mask.
We go to a golf range, or like a driving range. In the past, I have wanted to do go-karts, but unfortunately we haven't been able to make that happen. If I can like get like a football game going, I do. But aside from just the cousins, I don't think I've told you about this, but I also created a decathlon with my friends where we did all the same things. We went to a driving range, we did golf, we did batting cages. We also did like cricket. So we did, well, now I'm going to be really specific, but we did numbering for cricket. So numbering in cricket is basically, it's just like one on one, whatever. So we did that. We
Patreon exclusive. You guys should come and see my face while he's saying this. It's disgusted.
We did a 3-point shooting contest and a free throw shooting contest because some of us can't make free throws or 3-pointers. And yeah, so I'm sorry. I'm on team Sean and RFK Jr. on this. Sometimes it's just fun. You just want to go out and do stuff.
So they were like, what if we put a couple of pull-up bars? What if we put a few treadmills? What if, we figure out a way for people to just like release their energy while they're waiting for probably several hours for delays at the airport. So rather than figuring out how we're going to get the delays to stop, they're like, what if we add a free gym to the airport where you're dressed in a 3-piece suit? Well, now you take your 3-piece suit and you do pull-ups. And I'm just like, okay. And every few weeks I see a video of RFK being like, I'm going to do pull-ups here at this press conference. Why are you doing this? This is so weird. It's so weird.
Can I give you a little bit of insight? And this is embarrassing to say.
Yes.
I have only been able to master a pull-up in the last 5 years. So
okay.
I lived to 37 never being able to do a pull-up.
Can I just say something? Can I say something?
Yeah, please.
As a woman, as a straight woman who unfortunately likes men, I don't think a man's ability to do pull-ups really fucking matters.
I know you, and this is something that I've learned. So within the last 5 years is when I have been able to learn how to do a pull-up. Once you do once you do learn how to do a pull-up, you kind of want to do pull-ups just because it feels like a thing. Listen, I am not saying that any of this is right. I am not saying that what I just revealed wasn't embarrassing. I am embarrassed that I just said that out loud. I'm just being honest. I feel like that's probably the thing that RFK Jr. is going after, him and that piece of shit Pete Hegseth also, who's the one person you'll never see on a pull-up bar, Donald Trump, because he fucking can't, right? But it should also kind of illuminate to you kind of like the infantile mind of how like men works, right? And this is like, I am now 42 and I'm surprised sometimes by just how stupid and foolish I am. And then I go, well, am I just immature? And it's like, no, man. Men, I think, as a gender are pretty that's just what it is. So I hear pull-up bar at the airport. And I hear the Secretary of Transportation was there and the HHS guy was there, and I say, this is a foolish waste of taxpayers' money, right? It's stupid. This isn't what's going to solve the problems that we have at the airport. This is dumb. You guys shouldn't be doing this. Also in the back of my head, hey, I'd like to try that pull-up bar. You know what I mean? Like if I'm at the airport, I'll try that pull-up bar.
It's absurd.
It's
I think
embarrassing.
It's So embarrassing. I think that it's really great that you mentioned already, like, the mind of man, because I think that when we talk about all of the things that happened this week, and
Mm-hmm.
we'll start with the Zoya Garg interview on the Daily Beast that just like went viral. We talk a little bit. It's important to talk about men because I think the through line between these three topics that we're going to talk about today, which is Zarna Garg and her daughter,
Mm-hmm.
Akaash Singh and Jasleen Singh, and then Nalin Haley, who is Nikki Haley's son. I think that there's a thing that we need to recognize, which is that like doing, and I've mentioned this before, which is doing things for the approval of men, but specifically white men. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that what you said at the top of this hour, which is that men are idiots,
Yeah.
it's really important to keep in mind because like these are not the standards to which we should be functioning in, you know?
Yeah. No, I agree, and when you say men are idiots, I want to make sure that what's clear is that all men are idiots. You know what I mean? It's not just a white men thing. I think it's just, and that's just honestly, that's just being around men and being a man myself. It's just be like, oh man, like I can't believe how triggered I am by like the stupidest fucking things, right? Like you find yourself surprised, and then sometimes you have conversation with other men or whatever, and you go, oh wow, we're all pretty stupid, right? At the same time, like I don't want to throw all my fellow men under the bus, you know what I mean? Like I would just say that it is a reaction to the environment that we all grew up in. And I think what we're realizing now is the environment and the systems and all these things that you grow up believing were also done by immature men of the past. They were just immature, in the past. And now, as we're getting older, that's what we're realizing. Anyways.
I think that what you're also highlighting for me is that there are and we've talked about this like in chats before with our
Hmm.
cousins, and like also we've talked about it here a little bit. I think a lot of it is based in living in misogyny. I think that there is something that happens when a man is raised in an environment to value women, and then there's things that happen in an environment where men are taught not to value women, right? Like obviously, and when I say like value women, I don't
Hmm.
mean like as a creator of just like human life, like women as like fully baked human beings who are intelligent and very like capable of doing all the things, right? Like I always will come on here and talk big Missandra shit. I
Hmm.
am raising two sons and I
Yeah.
am married to a man who
Yeah.
is one of two sons, and I am unfortunately the sister of two brothers, right? So
Great
like
guys.
so
All the way
I
through.
I'm bringing that up because I think it's important to for me as I grew up. Like I'm not saying that you guys I'm not saying you guys weren't taught to value women. But I'm not saying that you guys were taught to devalue women. I don't think that the treatment of women or the importance of women was necessarily like upheld in our household as a thing that we should be like thinking about, right? And I don't think that it came from a place of like harm, but I just don't think that it was something that was like highlighted. I mean, it didn't help that I was told a lot of times to shut the fuck up. Okay. But like I think
Yeah, we're
about
all paying for it now. Not just the family, the listeners. Uh
Yes.
what I will say is we didn't grow up in a house that didn't, that taught us not to devalue women. Actually, I don't even know. Like, I think that was a double
Yeah.
negative or whatever.
Yeah.
I think we were raised in a house that was taught to value women, but it was to value women within the context of, of a very cisgendered heterosexual relationship where the man is the protector, right? I am 42. I'm not married. I imagine if I was married in my 20s, my thoughts on this would be different. I think if I was married in my 20s, regardless of how woke I think I am or whatever, right? I still think that a part of me would be like, okay, part of my job as a husband here is to provide for my wife. Like, even if you want to think about it in the most positive ways, right? Is to provide for my wife, give her
Yuck.
like protect her, like give her protect. I don't even know how I would, right? Although, for any of the ladies out there, I don't know if you heard earlier, I can do pull-ups. But and that's not, and that is obviously a part of that is we come from a religious a religious background that is usually pretty, I guess, in a good term is protective of women, in another term is discriminatory towards women, right?
Oppressive.
Oppressive towards women, you know what I mean? But like I would say that our parents are pretty traditional, but they were always, to me, it felt like everything was even, but obviously it wasn't. Like when I reflect back on it now, of course it wasn't, right? So
No.
all this is to say that yes, these are things that are evolving, these are things that are changing, and how we even look at women today, I think in the modern world, that's still evolving, right? One of the things that I always like to kind of point out is when I was growing up, and this is still a thing that's 100% true in the world, is one of my motivations in life still to this day is that if I do well, if I make the best of my opportunities, and what I mean by that is if I make money, what that means for me is that I will get a more aesthetically beautiful woman, right? And that's disgusting. I know how gross that sounds, but it's true. And like, I don't know where that conversation is in females circles, like when the gals get together or whatever, and everything syncs up, because I believe that's what I've been joking. It's
No,
terrible.
I think you
No.
should stop talking.
I don't know if that is how women also see it, right? And I'm sure that maybe the women that you talk to don't, but I'm sure that for a lot of women out there, like when they look at evaluating a man, making sure that he can provide or whatever is a consideration for them, because they're like within the system, there are two different pathways, right? I would love to be, at this point, I'm 42, I'd love to be a kept man. I would love for a buxom 50-year-old to come and pick me up and just
Help
take
you
care
do
of
a pull-up.
help me do a pull-up. Yeah, lift me up from the bottom.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you said that. First of all, every single woman that I know who is very happily married does say, "Look, I've already married for love, and if I was going to marry again, it would be for money." But I think that's mostly because we're just none of us want to work anymore. I don't think it's like we're not looking for like a very more lavish lifestyle. I think we're just looking for our existing lifestyle without like having to work, because we all live in states that require two incomes,
Yeah.
But going back to the point of like the difference between a man that is taught to value women and a man who is not, where that's not prioritized, I have to say, not to sound like a simp for my husband, but it's very, very clear to me that my husband, his cousin, and his brother are the three boys that grew up with around a lot of women. They grew up around their nani, they grew up around their khalas, which are your maternal aunts. They grew up around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 girl cousins, and tons of family friends that were all girls. They were just three boys growing up around that, right? And I see the difference between how they function versus like how even the men in my family, whom I love dearly, but like how they function, how they show up. There is a inherent like softness to these men that's the reason why like I married my husband, because I always say he's like the least toxic person I know. Now let's not talk about how he was feeling last night.
Oh, I saw some pictures last night
when the Eagles lost the third game in a row. Okay, that doesn't count. But I think that there is something that happens when you value women. And so let's go into this.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
Like, you just set yourself, you just set your husband up as like this great guy or whatever. I can't wait until the viral TikToks come out of him saying how he likes to pop his pussy.
Running a business comes with a lot of what ifs, but luckily there's a simple answer to them. Shopify. It's the commerce platform behind millions of businesses, including Thrive Cosmetics and Momofuku, and it'll help you with everything you need. From website design and marketing to boosting sales and expanding operations, Shopify can get the job done and make your dream a reality. Turn those what-ifs into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
Everyone wants the Emirates NBA Cup.
And things are heating up.
30 teams started. But only 8 have advanced to the single elimination knockout rounds. To survive, they'll have to be hungry, relentless, ruthless.
Are you kidding me?
They all want the cup, but only one team can claim it. Who will capture the cup? Emirates NBA Cup knockout rounds begin December 9th on Prime.
He said that?
No, that's what Akaash Singh's wife said.
Oh my God. Oh,
that's the
what she
thing.
said.
So
Oh,
yeah,
that's what she said.
I'm
Okay,
saying
yeah. When he was in college, the president of the MSA, and he was popping his pussy.
No,
Anyway.
he was helicoptering his penis. That's what he likes to do.
Hey, don't talk about him that way.
You know, it is true. I just want to point out, just today you said, I don't like how you sexualize your brothers-in-law. Because I do this with all of them.
Yeah, your running shtick with all of the women, all the girls in our family, is that you are in love with our husbands.
First of all,
and not just that you're in love with them, you have a special connection with them, and then they will run off into the sunset with you.
I'm buying a farm with one of them. I will say it's a two-way street. So if you guys can't control your men, and if they get distracted by me, then that's it. But yeah,
anyway, okay. So Zarna Garg this week, a video of her was going around. She was on the Daily Beast podcast with a British lady. I guess I don't know what the Daily Beast is. Is that like the Daily Mail? I have no idea.
The Daily Beast is, I believe it's a more conservative leaning online entity. I don't know who's in charge of the Daily Beast. I forget.
Isn't it all just Rupert Murdoch? Isn't it just like at the end of the day?
That's what it feels like. Yeah.
All roads lead to Big Rupe. Anyway.
Yep.
So Zarna and Zoya Garg were on the podcast, and some of the comments that Zarna made were things like, quote, "The Indian community loves Trump. We do not have a problem with him that a lot of people in America have. We're very comfortable with his crookedness." Now, let's talk about that particular thing that she said. Zarna Garg is a comedian. A lot of her comedy is based in just the same way that we hate comedians that just put on an accent and like make fun of their parents. Zarna Garg's whole shtick is that she is the auntie who is leaning into those like stereotypes, right? Like a lot of her comedy is made for white audiences that expect Indian people to function a certain way. The tiger mom, Indian lady who gets up there in like shalwar kameez and bindiya on and, talks about how her children's pronouns are doctor. Like that's
is that
like
a joke? Is this a Zarna Garg joke?
That's a Zarna Garg joke.
Made me chuckle.
Right.
So bad.
So like, I know I'm not going to act like I've not laughed at her stuff before. She's got like that whole shtick, right? But it's like once you find out that whole shtick is actually leaning into ideals that she really believes in, like it's one thing to do those things and be like, I'm doing this because I know how ridiculous this sounds. But when you hear the way that she and her daughter speak about conservative ideals and even about Trump, you're like, oh, wait, no, you really believe the things that you are up there saying. It's no longer just a joke. It's actually it's actually how you feel about things. So when she said that Indian community loves Trump, let's just talk about that for a second, because I looked up the statistics. Okay. In 2016, 77% of Indian Americans voted for Clinton. In 2020, 72% of Indian Americans voted for Biden. In 2024, 65% of Indian Americans voted for Kamala Harris. So statistically, okay, mathematically, that's just not true. It's just not true that the Indian community loves Trump. I believe that the Indian community that Zarna Garg belongs to probably does love Trump, because Zarna Garg was a New York City Phi Dai district housewife who was raising her kids to go to private schools. Like, she was the wife of a finance guy in the city, right? So she literally they're millionaires already from jump. So, do I believe that Zarna Garg is wrong when she talks about Indians as a whole? Yes, but I don't believe that she's wrong when she talks about her community of Indian people, which is the ultra wealthy people who have these horrible views that she does.
I think and maybe at this point, and maybe this is something that we should kind of acknowledge is, like just in terms of being self-aware, I think we are obviously two Pakistani Muslims
Yes.
that are going to be talking about three people that are brown and that are Desis, so we have this sense of connection with them. At the same time, like we have to acknowledge that there is a deep history of Indians and Pakistanis and Hindus and Muslims that may weigh into this conversation, right? So I think we have to be kind of aware of that. We have to be aware of the fact that just because we see some things as brown Muslims, as Pakistani Muslims, it may not be as apparent to somebody who is Hindu, or it may not be as important to somebody that's Hindu, right? I don't know if we have the time to talk about this, but like your and my experience as Pakistani Muslims post 9/11,
Mm-hmm.
we can say that it's similar to the experience of Indian Hindus, but it's absolutely not, right? Like
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it's like to be a brown person. And I think the first person that was actually like a hate crime that happened post 9/11, the
Was a
first
Sikh.
person that was killed was a Sikh man. It
Yeah.
was a Sikh man in Arizona because somebody couldn't tell the difference, or somebody didn't know that the
Yeah.
Sikh person is a different religion than a Muslim, right? So I think that's important to kind of call out, because I think from what I have a bunch of Hindu friends, I have a bunch of Indian friends. I think the thing that Zarna Garg is talking about, I think she's wrong in terms of like washing away all of the evils of Trump just by saying, "Oh, we're used to politicians being crooks." Yeah, politicians are crooks or whatever. It does not justify the awfulness of Trump. Like
Yep.
he is especially awful, right? He's
Yeah.
especially a crook or whatever. So that's dangerous. I will say that what's happening in India right now, there is a shift to more of like a more nationalistic
Yep.
Hindutva kind of sensibility, right? And that's happened in the time of Trump, when Trump 2016, when he came in during his first term, he had a really close connection with Modi. If you talk to Indian immigrants in America right now, I have seen that picking up. Like there are places in New Jersey. There's a mosque in
Yeah.
our community where there was like trucks outside and stuff like that, right? And as a Muslim, you go, well, this is some bullshit. I can't believe we're bringing our generational trauma from the old world to over here. We shouldn't have to deal with this. At the same time, like if there's trauma, there's trauma on both sides, right? Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
And so if somebody who's Indian kind of looks at this thing and says that, oh, you know what, or it starts to align themselves with the anti-Islamic side, I don't agree with it, but I understand that there could be a reason for it or whatever, right? In Zarna Garg's case, I think she made a general blank statement about all Indians, right? Which statistically is not wrong, but from those stats also, what you do see is there is a shift, right? I think where it started off at 77% for Hillary, you said it was 65 for Harris?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there is something that's shifting. Obviously,
They're
it is.
shifting. Yeah.
Yeah, it hasn't shifted to the level that Zarna pointed out. But yeah,
Well, I think that it'll all tie in where all of this starts to connect, right? Because one of the other things she said was that when it comes to immigration, Indian people by and large are legal immigrants in America, which means that it was years of waiting and applying for paperwork. So the whole illegal immigration thing was something that we never really as Indians ever got on board with. We have relatives that have been waiting for 15 years because it's the right thing to do. And it seems like if you break the law, you get rewarded. So I want to talk about that because factually, again, that is incorrect because Indians are actually the third biggest population or the group of undocumented immigrants in America. Over 700,000 undocumented people in America are Indians. And one of the things that they've actually pointed out is that like when research has been done about it, a few people have already talked about this when they've talked about Zarna, is that it's Mexico, El Salvador, and then India. And the reason why they're saying India actually has lower numbers than what they would expect is because the flight is so long, because it's so expensive to come here. But it's not like it's, an anomaly that like, a Desi person in America would be like here illegally. We all know somebody who was undocumented for a while, okay?
Go to school in New Jersey, man. Go to high school in New Jersey. And this is, it's actually, it's sad to me that she's using this point, because really that's the point where, even as somebody, you and I, we came to this country, quote unquote, legally and through like through the proper channels or whatever. But it was kind of hanging out with brown people, with Indian people, friends in high school, and then also friends after high school, H1 workers, people that had been fucking breaking their backs trying to support their families, that you saw the unfairness of like the documented versus the undocumented life, right? And for her to say, well, all Indian people are documented, or most Indian people are documented, this illegal problem is of a different type of brown person. That's the part that I think pissed me off the most, although the next part I think is is one that's going to be fun to get into. But it's just like, man, like, go out and talk to a person. Go out and talk to a person that is fucking working their ass off to support their families, that are doing all this shit for their kids. If you want to find a person from your own background and talk to them, do that. But then also, that's not where the conversation ends, right? Like, your empathy should cross boundaries. It should cross into like these different communities, because that's what these people are trying to do. They're not here. Don't fall for the horse shit about like they're just here to plug your families with fentanyl, right? They're here to fucking live and survive.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is this thing she says about like it seems like if you're breaking the law, you get rewarded. And I think that what she's talking about there is like that the undocumented people exist in this country and they're not having to file paperwork.
Yeah.
First of all, the fact that you are able to have the means to come here through the legal route, which is already a fucked up system. The legal system of immigration in this country is horrible. It should not be the way that it is. But the fact that you have the ability to do that, the access to do that, speaks of your privilege. And that privilege is often used by people like Zarna Garg, or people that we know that function like her. And it's not just in the Desi community. We know about Latinos for Trump. Like, it happens, right? These people are devoid of empathy for the process. Like, if you think about how fucked up this process is, right? How hard it is for you to come over here, and then you don't think about the fact that, that I came here, it's so hard for me to come here, I'm really struggling. How much harder do you think it is for the person who's literally fleeing war? Who's fleeing war and a destabilized country, which, guess what, is destabilized because of the United States.
Oh, hey, man, listen, man. We're not signing off on all of this stuff, but you are obviously,
you know what I mean?
Role that of course.
Yeah, it's like it all goes to that, right? So this woman getting on mic and talking on behalf of all Indian people, the millions of us that live in America, and I do consider myself part of the population because technically we're South Asian,
My culture is Bollywood. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Fun fact, Raheel and I had a podcast about Bollywood for a while before. But, I think it goes again to show the disconnect even within our communities of the reality of life in America for people who are not wealthy. Like, there is a classism situation that happens. And we'll talk about Pakistanis for a second.
Oh, yeah.
Pakistanis? Oh, honey. You want to talk about colorism? You want to talk about classism?
We should have that disclaimer. Every awful thing that we're going to be saying about these brown people who happen to be Indians, we believe that times 10 about Pakistanis. Pakistan,
yes,
way worse. Yes.
Way worse. Okay, way worse. Add homophobia to it, because the Pakistanis, They love to be homophobic. Okay.
Also, I mean,
Not all. Anyway, so those are her thoughts about all of that, which I was like, all right, Zarna, like, you don't understand how things are going. But then I was like, okay, she's got this Gen Z daughter who went to Stanford. Like, apparently she has a podcast.
Yeah.
She seems to be a very smart person. This interviewer, Joanna Coles, she says, so what about Usha Vance? What do you think about her? And Zoya says, I would love to talk about Usha Vance. And I was like, ooh, let's hear what she has to say. She's going to say something about Usha. She said, I think she's really aspirational. And I was like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because it makes me feel, as a person who likes to date American guys, that it's not abnormal to marry outside of your culture.
Yeah.
Excuse me? First of all, not to take up for Usha Vance. Usha Vance should be aspirational because she's like an intelligent,
because she went to
lawyer.
fucking Yale. She's a
Like,
lawyer from Yale. Yeah.
She's a smart person. She's like out there. Like, they could have said, she's aspirational because she's showing that Indian women don't have to look a certain way or be a certain way. The Indian woman can be all kinds of things, right? But no, she's aspirational. Why, Zoya? Because she makes me feel like it's not abnormal to date outside of my religion and my culture, because she says something, Zoya says something which I think was so really interesting. She says, as somebody who dates American. And I want to point that out because Zoya does not mean American like black. She's talking about American like white. She's talking about dating white men, which I was like, this is that pissed me off so bad. That was the part of it. And I think going back to your point earlier about like the percentages going down and there being this like red pillification of South Asian communities in America.
Yeah.
I think that seeing somebody as young as Zoya Garg, like a woman in her 20s who's raised here, to have that kind of view, that is, I think, something that I thought as a person, a millennial, I thought we were done with that. I thought we were done with that. I thought we were done with aspiring to white standards. I thought that if you were born and raised here, you sort of understood that the way that people functioned who came in the 60s and 70s that were really big on assimilating, that we were done with that. We were no longer going to be doing that. We were like, look at Zoran eating rice with his hands, like, calling his aunt Zahra Fui. Like, he's like, I thought we were done, but apparently not. And I think it's important for us to talk about it because of the people like Akaash Singh or Nalin Haley, right? Like, we have these younger people, even though Akaash is just a few years younger than me, but like, you have these younger people who you would think, growing up in America, being born and raised for the most part in America, that you would understand that you are actually you're not going to be part of the white crew. You need to create your own space. But this aspiring to be close to like the aspiration for proximity to whiteness is like the through line that I see in all three of these stories.
I agree with you. I think there is some of that, right? But I think so. I think we're gonna get into the Akash thing in a second. But a thing that I want to correct for you: number one, he's actually a few years older than you. He's Akash Singh. He's like 41.
He's 40. He's older than me?
Yeah, he's older than you. He's like, I think he's a year younger than me.
Okay.
And Akash Singh is actually one of the things that kind of led to where he finds himself at right now is the fact that, he came out against these two red pill bros, like actual red pill bros. And the thing that he said that he found corny was that those red pill bros said that dating within your own race is bad or whatever, right? He said that that was corny. So I kind of want to give him credit for that and make sure that he's not listen, I gotta play devil's advocate, but obviously his proximity to whiteness and kind of existing in those spaces is kind of the reason why he's here, even if it doesn't have to do with the dating part, right? When I heard that part from Zarna Garg's daughter, that's how I took it also when she said dating American. I think when she's talking about Usha Vance and like, how they're standing up and talking about how great it is that he's married to a white guy. It's like, the reverse of that, of like the brown man going after a white woman, is a thing. It's a trope. It's also something that we see happen a lot. So if there is like maybe like a humor or like a comedic part of like, oh, look at brown women now get to go after white guys or whatever, then sure, you want to make a joke about that, sure, right? But to call it aspirational is fucking horseshit. The aspirational part about Usha Vance is that she went to law school. She's an accomplished lawyer. And in, at least before 2020, I would say, hey, this is a person that went out, she found love with a man, and now she's married to the man. Like, that is great. That is something that you should be aspiring to. The fact that she is married to JD Vance and she's about to lose him to a lady that dresses up like a couch, it's not aspirational, right? Like, that's some bullshit like that. And that is exactly what her daughter was talking about. And to your point of like, hey, I thought we were behind, like all this stuff was behind us. You don't exist in the awful spaces that I do. But yeah, that's the part that you see is just like, oh no, like there's like a hardcore like pivot now back to racism, right? And it's being done under the guise of like, hey, we're being funny or whatever. But really what you see happening is there's no, there's just actual racists. There's actual racists that are talking about, white superiority and like genes and all this other horse shit, right? And if you are not careful, like that is the stuff that you step into and either implicitly or explicitly support. So
Yeah, another thing that she said, and I think it's important to talk about like their view of like what it means to be like good or successful. She also talked in the interview about Trump's family, and she said, we're a New York family, they're a New York family, and we actually have friends in common. And one thing that we never saw from the Trump kids were like out partying and drinking and slobbering over. I was like, have you seen Don Jr.?
He's got coke in his nostrils
He's cocaine bear, okay?
Yeah.
And so, she's like, we know so many wealthy and rich like New Yorkers in general, and we always thought that it was so nice that the Trump kids, like, they were never like that. And I was just like, what are you doing here, lady? What is this? Like, what is the purpose of sitting on mic and saying stuff like this? And I think that you're going to be like, oh, brother. Saying this to a British lady, especially to me, really pisses me off. Because I'm like, even the British lady is like, are you sure you have these thoughts? And she's like, yeah, no, she's like, that's so interesting because I felt like the Indian community feels the opposite. And she's like, no. By the way, do you have a boot that I could lick? Because that's the way that they were showing up. And it was absolutely insane. But I think that what it highlights is that we have a problem in our communities. And like, we need to be calling it out. Like, this is the shit that we need to be calling it out. The whole getting on stage and your comedy leaning into your accent, leaning into your stereotypes is comedy for white people. It's like one of our old podcast friends said to us a while ago. They said this thing that I'll never forget, which is comedians like this, like the Lily Singhs and the Zarna Gargs, are the equivalent of somebody saying that their favorite Indian food is butter chicken. It's like this. Butter chicken is not food that was made for us or by us, okay? Butter chicken was made, chicken tikka masala was made for the Western palate. And so like all of this type of stuff, it's still very much like aiming for the Western palate. And one last thought about Zarna Garg, which really pissed me off, was that she was in that really good movie that we got to see, A Nice Indian Boy, right? And it's a movie about like Bollywood and queerness and being gay in a Desi family. And it was so good. And she was like our favorite part of the movie. She was so good, right? And then she goes to perform at the Riyadh Comedy Festival. And then she goes on this podcast and says these things. And you just think to yourself like, okay, well, I get it. Like, it's one of those things where I think that there's just like these this dissociation that happens, this like compartmentalization that happens, where I think that, can I believe that Zarna Garg is a good person who actually cares about people? Sure, maybe. But if your method of making money is based in the continued oppression and marginalization, or at least turning a blind eye to that marginalization of brown and black people in America, then like you can get fucked.
So before this conversation right now, my concept of Zarna Garg was from that movie, and I think I
Mm-hmm.
saw her she was on stage somewhere, right? Nothing about her comedy spoke to me, right? I
Yeah.
liked her in the movie or whatever, but nothing about her comedy spoke to me. What I saw when I saw her on stage, the thought that I had was, well, this is an Indian lady that is getting a chance to perform on stage, and whatever, that's good. Like
Yeah.
maybe it may just the fact that the opportunity exists for her is great. The fact that I'm learning that she that she was the wife of a finance person who apparently ran in the same circle as the fucking Trump kids, right? It is so disappointing to see like that person is now using like you know it's this is something that we're going to talk about when we talk about Akash Singh also. It's like the laugh that she's getting is, and I
Yep.
think maybe your friend Ray, I'm going to call him
Yep.
my friend Ray.
Ray signing. Your friend Ray.
I went to a Yankee game with her. That's me.
Friend of the podcast, Emmy nominated writer Ray Sani.
I went to a Yankee. That's me assimilating to American culture. I went to a Yankee game. No, it is that thing about like, hey, the laugh that Zarna Garg
Yep.
is getting, and I think the laugh that Zarna Garg wants
Yep.
is on the basis of her accent. It is not on the
Mm-hmm.
base of her content, right? And so you say, well, is there a place for that? Sure, there's a place for fucking everything in pop culture, right? Apparently, there's a place you can make money doing whatever the hell. You can make money,
Yeah.
I don't know, taking a shit on stage or whatever.
Oh,
Is it
boy.
a place? Is it content that you and I want to engage with? No, and I think
No.
that's from now on. Me and Zarna, we done. Even though we
We're
never
done.
started, we're done.
Well, okay, let's carry that chat over into Akash Singh and Jasleen Singh. Now, you talked about it a little bit last week. I'm going to try to summarize it for you really quickly. You tell me if
Yeah.
I'm on the right I'm on the right track. Akaash Singh is a co-host of the Flagrant podcast with Andrew Schultz, another rich New Yorker. And he has gotten some heat from his own fans who would have guessed it, do not like the fact that he is married to a mouthy, hypersexual, gold digging wife who gets
Mhm.
to go on a podcast and say terribly humiliating things about Akash. And by the way, who even knows if she was a virgin like Akash was when they got married? Because she said that she had a roster and she was popping her pussy in college
Mhm.
and that she wants to have an orgy with her co-host husband. So, Akash, you gonna put that woman in line or are you a cuck? Is that it?
That is so that is, I would say that is like the generous version of it. Like I think you are saying the right things, like, because at the end of the day, and I say that because, like, yes, everything that you said, like, that is a mentality of the people that are coming after him now, right? It is interesting to see kind of how all of this stuff started, because it started with Akash saying 2 years ago, rightfully calling out a red pill bro for saying some bullshit.
What's his name?
Right?
Myron?
Myron, who, by the way, I think he's Muslim, by the way. So
Yeah, he's
yeah,
terrible. He's
he's
a guy
terrible.
from the Manosphere guy.
He's a manosphere guy, and he's one of the worst people like out there, right? So Akash saying, calling him out on that podcast was 100% the right thing to do, right?
Mhm.
And that guy waited, I guess, 2 or 3
Wait,
years.
hold on. This is the guy who's the host of Fresh and Fit.
Yeah.
His real name, by the way, is Amru Fodl. And
Yeah.
so he has a new name, Myron Gaines. And he is the author of the best-selling book, Why Women Deserve Less.
Hey, is that can you Amazon Prime that to me? I need that before tomorrow.
Guys, if you want to send Raheel a birthday present, his birthday's
Yeah.
not until April, but Christmas. is
Send it
around
right
the
now.
corner.
Send me a Christmas
Yeah.
present. No, Akash Singh is
Yeah.
100. He was 100% right to call him out.
Yes.
That guy waited 3 years until Akash Singh's wife started her own podcast, and she started talking the way that she started talking. And so, how she has been talking and the things that she has said and all those things, right? I'm just being completely honest. The first time that you hear it as a dude, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the first time that you hear it as a brown dude, blah, 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 whatever, right? You have a reaction to it. I wish that I was evolved enough to say, hey, man, it's a dude's, like, she can say whatever the fuck it is that she wants to, because ultimately,
Yeah.
yes, that is true. You don't know what's going on in their relationship. You don't know if this is a bit. You don't know, why she's saying or whatever. That is the correct response to this. You do have a reaction, and the reaction that I've seen with the brown men in the spaces that I talk to, and I guess the men overall within like that flagrant space or whatever, is immediately it's weird. It's almost like this, like, hey, we have to protect our bro.
Yeah.
Our bro is getting cucked, and our bro, this woman is gonna spend all of his money, and she's only after him for the money, and she doesn't even show him affection. It is like such like childish boy shit. Like, oh man,
Mm-hmm.
he's not being looked after or whatever. But you also realize that that is just the opening, like salvo. Like that is the opening
Yeah.
that they need to actually sexualize his wife, to
Yep.
actually say fucking terrible things about a brown woman, and like how she would have been passed around in a frat house
Yeah.
about white guys and stuff like that, right? So that is the through line there. And you go, well, did Akaash Singh do anything to fucking deserve it? Absolutely not. Like, he didn't do anything to deserve for his wife to get the treatment that she has gotten online, right? At the same time, Akaash Singh is somebody that has lived in this flagrant space, and he has prospered off of
Yeah.
the comedy that has been made about marginalized people. He has prospered from having
Yep.
people like Donald Trump on his podcast. Like, he is bigger now because Donald Trump came on his podcast. And you say, well, where's your responsibility in that, right? Like, as a
Yep.
brown person, shouldn't you hold people like that accountable? And the other thing I'll say is, like, Akaash Singh was very famously, or is still very famously, Andrew Schultz's brown friend, right? He is,
Yep.
Andrew Schultz gets to have him on, and with him on, Andrew Schultz gets to make brown jokes, and
Mm-hmm.
Andrew Schultz gets, and whatever. And they had an episode recently where she was on as well. And it was like, oh, look at all of us. We all get to kind of hang out together, and Akaash is just one of the boys or whatever. Andrew Schultz also gets to go to the New York Times roundtables and talk about what it's like to be a podcaster, what it's like to exist in this space. So he is now living, like, he is now looked at with legitimacy. Meanwhile, his boy is now like fodder for awful jokes from his fans, and he doesn't have to kind of, he just gets to coast off of it. Like, the longer Akaash Singh's wife and his story is going to be in the news, the more prosperous it makes Andrew Schultz, right? Is that something that Andrew Schultz would have done kind of deliberately? I don't think so, but I also don't think he gives a fuck that it's
Yep.
happening.
Yeah, I think the big thing that we have to take away from both of these stories, right, the Zarna and the Akaash thing, is that, like, when you prosper and you make your entire career off of being sort of in problematic spaces, right? Because you think, like, oh, like, I'm in this like anti-woke space, like, yeah, flagrant whatever, Andrew Schultz says the
Mm-hmm.
n-word sometimes and he's not going to apologize for it. Like, you get to hang out in these like controversial spaces, right? Because you think that, like, this is the thing that, like, we need more of, is like guys just like saying whatever they want. Yeah, you roll in a bunch of spaces where people do not value other human beings. You cannot be fucking surprised when they devalue your wife. Now,
Mm-hmm.
do I think Justine is like nice to, oh gosh. Like, I've seen some of the clips where I'm like, I don't, okay, by the way, her saying like I'd love to have an orgy with my coworker's husband. Like, I think that that's crazy for
So
her to say online,
that's
right?
the part where you were just like, do you have to say it? But
Where
then
you
you go,
go, and like, but like, if her friend's not worried about it, then I guess, like, who am I to say anything, right? But like,
Mhm.
there are, in the same sort of manosphere spaces,
Mhm.
again, Ray Sani getting a lot of shout outs. Ray sent me a video of this like YouTuber that was analyzing it, and one of the things that he pointed out was, like, there are other podcasters in this type of space,
Mhm.
the same space, right? White podcasters that have literally had porn stars on their podcast that are also married to OnlyFans girls that have had those porn stars do scenes with their OnlyFans partners.
Yeah.
And it is touted about like as if it is some of the best stuff on the internet, right? Some of the hottest scenes on the internet is this podcaster who let his girlfriend
Something 22, right?
Yeah. And
Yeah,
so
look at me pretending like I don't know who it is.
Like what is
Or
it
who
like? Like
something 20 I don't know. Lena the Plug? I don't know. I've never heard that. I don't know. The guy that she shot with, Jason Love, huh? What?
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. Jay Kelly, the new film from Academy Award nominee Noah Baumbach. George Clooney stars as an actor confronting his past and present on a journey of self-discovery, alongside Adam Sandler as his devoted manager. Critics are calling it a declaration of love to the chaotic art of filmmaking, with the Wall Street Journal praising it as a transcendent comedy drama. Jay Kelly is now playing only on Netflix.
this holiday, give the gift that says, let's cancel plans and just lounge. MeUndies has dropped their new holiday collection, and it's made for maximum cozy. We're talking soft as snow, ultramodal fabric, festive prints, and loungewear so comfy, your couch might get jealous. Onesies, hoodies, joggers, even delightfully quirky holiday designs. You're welcome. Knock out all your holiday gifting needs with deals up to 60% off at MeUndies.com/Spotify. Enter promo code Spotify. That's MeUndies.com/Spotify, code Spotify.
Anyway, he brought that up because in that same space, that guy who orchestrated this scene is viewed as like a great guy. Like he did not get his girlfriend did not get the blowback. Well,
she got some blowback.
She got something blown. Anyway, she didn't get the same type of criticism that Jocelyn is getting, because one of the things he said was like, one, the porn star is a black man, and the guy who orchestrated this is white. And so it was sort of viewed more as this white man is watching this black man have
like
sex with his wife, and there's like a fetish situation. There's like, but also it's this white man in control of the situation. Whereas the way they view Jocelyn and Akaash is that they view Akaash as very much out of control in the situation that is in.
Yeah.
Because his wife running the show. It's his wife saying things. It's his wife going online calling him an idiot. It's his wife saying like over the top things, right? When you get famous from literally being flagrant, and then your wife uses that same flagrancy to get famous and make content, you cannot be surprised. It's like two things. One, you can't be surprised that you're in a problematic space and then somebody that you follow did a problematic thing. You can't be like, I don't like the way Akaash's wife talks to him because, that's disrespectful. I thought we're not respectful. I thought we're open for disrespect. I thought that that's what we do here. We're supposed to just let things like roll off our backs, right? And also in the same regard, you can't be a person that is profiting off of this and then be surprised when your fandom turns on you because you created an environment where people can disrespect other people. Like, that's what we're looking at here. And another thing I was talking to Ray about was people are like, Jocelyn's not even pretty. Let's not lie to ourselves. She's a beautiful girl. She's a beautiful girl. It's like me saying Sydney Sweeney's not hot. No, that's not true. I don't like her, but she's still hot. Like, I have eyes. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, she's got boobs.
So I think like that's how I feel about that whole situation. I can think that these people are toxic. I can also agree that she should not be spoken to that way. But also like there's like factual evidence about her not being a gold digger because apparently he was like homeless for a while. Like they've been, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like now these people are wealthy, whether or not she is a gold digger because whatever. And if he's fine with his gold being dug, then who are we? You know what I mean?
I agree with all of that. I think the only thing that the last thing that I want to say about this, and I don't know if there's a connection here, or if I'm just kind of trying to force a connection, but Akaash's last, I think, or one of his last specials was called "Bring Back Apu," right?
Oh, brother.
And I remember a clip of him being on Joe Rogan at the time, talking about that, talking about a poo. And so this is, I think, 2022. And I don't know how much of this you recall, but like the whole conversation about getting rid of a poo, and I
Yeah, it
think
was Harry
Harry
Kondabolu.
kind of, yeah. So he put out that he had a documentary. He talked about it. They got rid of a poo, and Akaash Singh, when he was on Joe Rogan, what he was talking about was, hey, the reason why we need to bring back Apu is because if you actually watch the show, Apu is like an immigrant. He's working class. He's a entrepreneur. He owns his business. It's actually aspirational, blah, 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 right? Which, yes, you can look at that in a vacuum and say, hey, these are all the good things about this guy. This is the reason why we want him back. I think Akaash Singh also during his special, he just said that, oh, you don't have to worry about like the bullying that it caused or whatever, because that shit just happens when you're a kid regardless, right? Akaash Singh can say all those things, and those things are true in a vacuum. But you, and he knows that the thing that the people are laughing about is the fucking accent,
Yeah,
is the
yeah.
hard T sound and the hard P sound and the R sound, right?
Also, that
Those
Hank Azaria did the voice, the white
exactly
man.
like so the we can say that he is like this aspirational character or whatever, but the reason why he existed on that show was for the accent, and so it's an easy laugh for people to make off of this thing, right? So similarly in this situation, we can
Yep.
his fans or whatever can pretend like this is a thing where they're watching out for their bro, or they can pretend like, oh, we're just watching out against against a gold digger or whatever. But really, at the end of the day, what's driving all this is like the cuckery of a diminutive Indian man. Like
Yep.
that is the thing that his fans are excited about. That is the reason why it's being built up. It is the thing that people are fucking laughing about, right? Is any of that right? Absolutely not. It's fucking horrible. But it's like, hey, like that's the reason why you have to be vigilant. That's the reason why, even when you think that it's okay, that hey, you should just laugh some shit off. Like, no, that's the reason why you say a character like Apu is fucked up, because I know that you're laughing at the accent, right? And so I think, we've been in America now for 30 years, and I think back about like how many times that I would have gone along with just an Indian accent and just laughed it off or whatever, because that's what you do to survive here. You
Yeah.
assimilate, and part of assimilation is also getting to laugh at yourself, blah, 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 right? It's important for us as immigrants to call that shit out when it's
Yep.
appropriate. If we feel like we have the opportunity to, that's the reason why you call it out.
And I think that somebody like him who thinks that people are looking at Apu like he's an aspirational immigrant character. If he really thinks that that is why people are watching Simpsons, like, oh yeah, let me turn on Simpsons and see Apu, that hardworking store owner.
Yeah.
No, like nobody is looking at that and going like, yeah, you know what? He is really hardworking. No, they're looking at it and they're laughing at him. And I think similarly, he thinks that people are looking at him in his life and being like, oh, yeah, Akash is really aspirational. Look, he gets to hang out with Andrew Schultz and Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, Akash, people are waiting for you to fuck up so they can shit on you. Because at the end of the day, you are just Andrew Schultz, little brown boy that gets to hang out and like profit off of those spaces. So like, this is again another reminder that your proximity to whiteness is not going to protect you from the harms of white supremacy. You are next on the list of the harms of white supremacy, of the harms of these types of toxic spaces.
Yeah, I think one of the things that you realize is that you can exist as like I don't know, like it feels wrong to use the word token, but that is right. Like
That's what it is.
Tokenism is a thing. Like yes, you can exist as that, but the first chance that people will get if you exist in that in that way, the first chance that people will get to punch down on you, they fucking will, right? And that's the reason why it's bad.
Yeah. Well, on the last topic, let's talk about how old is Nolan Haley? Let's see, how old are you, Nolan? Nolan Haley is 24 years old. He is the son of former U.S. Ambassador and South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, and he has recently gained attention from going on the Tucker Carlson show and also having some pretty harsh things to say about immigration and foreign policy or foreign worker policy. And also Fox News is loving it because they're like, oh, a young Gen Z person who wants to shit on all the things that progressives believe in. Let's bring him on. So Nolan shared a couple of things. He said, quote, "We don't just stop illegal immigration. I think we need to stop legal immigration." Because he thinks that ending H-1B visa programs is important because he does not want any foreign workers to be taking American jobs. He thinks that it's irresponsible at a time where our economy is so fragile. Why is our economy fragile, Raheel? Is it because of immigrants? Nope.
Yeah.
He thinks that during a time when the economy is so fragile that immigrants should not be allowed in. We should be giving those jobs to Americans. Americans are more than qualified because our education system is
Aces.
aces. It's so good. It's so good. We don't even need the Department of Education anymore. So he said that. He also said that we should be limiting the number of foreign students that we allow into American universities because some of them are spies. He said dual citizenship is the stupidest idea. He also said that naturalized citizens should not be allowed to hold public space because growing up in America is a really important part of understanding American policy. So there's that. Huh?
You and me and his grandparents can fuck right out.
He said, they said, well, what do you think about that? Because you have immigrant roots. And he said, my loyalty is to America. It's really, really important for people to assimilate. And his whole thing is that immigrants, he's like, everybody used to assimilate. When my grandparents came, we were all assimilating. Everybody was assimilating. And then during Obama, suddenly they were like, oh, you can actually like be yourself. And it's like, no, fuck that. We're not supposed to be ourselves. We're supposed to be American. Because if you're not American, then it weakens our identity as Americans.
I don't know a lot about this young chap. I do recall seeing a picture of him. This is like maybe a month ago, of him walking around shirtless, holding a football.
Yeah,
like he was Johnny Football. And you go, wait, like, did you play football? Are you like, was he a college football player? Is there anything in his background about that?
Okay, let's see. Nolan Haley football. No.
So
he played football.
Oh, he did.
But
Good.
I think he just attended games.
No, he didn't. Nolan Haley. There's no prominent Nolan.
But like he played football in like high school. Like he played like youth sports. And then
I don't think he did. I honestly don't think that he did. Anyways, but that was the image like that he wanted to put out there, right? Like he was fucking Johnny Football. And like to him, that is what being American is. It's like this red pill,
No, you're right. He didn't. He played basketball.
No.
And he worked as a bell boy for the Gamecocks.
So it's like, okay, if that's just the image that you want to put out there, again, Nolan, like you think that you can go on Tucker Carlson and talk about how, that's what being American is. It's just like the white version, the white male version of America where you walk around shirtless, tossing a football around. I guess try it and see how long before they want to get rid of you, right? Because one thing that we didn't talk about with Usha Vance and that whole conversation was that where is Usha Vance in the MAGA world right now? She is just JD Vance's Hindu wife, who he either needs to fucking leave or she needs to convert to Christianity so that she can be accepted, right? So you can do all these things, you can pretend, you can say the things that you think are that white people want to hear. And some of them will pretend like they're accepting you until it's convenient for them not to accept you, right? Like, that's very, very easy for them to do that.
And like he's talking about like how there should be no immigration, which like ironically his grandparents came to America right after the civil rights movement. They came in the late 1960s, right? So like this type of like I don't know, what's the term that you use? Like I guess bootlicking. This type of bootlicking that you do for like the white acceptance for like to be Johnny Republican or whatever, like you don't understand that you would not have the things that you have if your family if people did not fight against the conservative party, if Black Americans did not stand up to conservative parties who did not want Black people to have the rights that do they who did not want immigration to happen the way that it did. Like that's the part of it that I there's again it goes back to the lack of empathy, right? There are young Desis, right? And Nolan is one of them. Zoya Garg is another one, right? There are people who listen to Akaash Singh thinking that he's aspirational. There are young Desis who are watching this type of shit or consuming this type of shit who are falling for it, who are falling for this idea that their proximity to whiteness, the more successful they are, the more assimilated they are, that they're going to get ahead. But these are examples. Akaash Singh is actually an example of no, it's not going to work for you. Vivek Ramaswamy is an example of it's not going to work for you. Gash Patel is an example that it's not going to work for you. It has never worked for you. Nikki Haley, her son went on Tucker Carlson's podcast. Tucker Carlson has talked cash money shit about Nikki Haley. He has called her horrible things, right? And now her own son is going on that podcast to hobnob with him. Like these are not people that you want to be around. These are not people who give a shit about you because they're simply using you to further their white supremacist agenda. They're tokenizing you to further their white supremacist agenda.
That's all. I don't think there's much more to add to that, right? I think that there's the one piece that we didn't touch on at all. That is probably the most important part, and that goes beyond just we talked about three people that are, I guess, conservative adjacent, like, if not just straight up conservative. I wouldn't say Akaash Singh is conservative. I think again, what the thing that he was arguing about and the reason why he even got into this situation was because he was saying something that you and I agree with to a terrible piece of shit red pill person, right? But the part that does not get acknowledged in I would say in any of the immigrant spaces is the work of African American people during the civil rights movement, right? And also kind of like how all of the tokenism, all of like, hey, we'll welcome you into our spaces, right? And I know you like to use the term proximity to whiteness. I don't like to say that because I'd like some white people in my life. I'm joking. No, but it just so happens that the people in power happen to be white in this country, and so proximity to whiteness is probably appropriate, right? But we don't acknowledge enough about the work that the African American community did for us to even be fucking here, right?
Yeah.
And we also don't acknowledge that tokenism or like that welcoming us into those spaces under the guise of success, under the guise of like, hey man, work hard and that's the American dream, blah 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 blah, right? Is in some ways also meant to keep Black Americans down in this country, right? Like there's so many different ways that you see that, hey, they'll welcome people like me and you in if it means that they get to keep a Black person out. Like that's a true thing that happens. And that's why like the conversation about like affirmative action or whatever, they've gotten a lot of pickup. Like they've picked up a lot of steam on the backs of the Asian community. Like they've said, oh, look at how unfair affirmative action is because these Asians don't get to, because their
spots are given to Black people.
Exactly, right? And so it's important for us to be to acknowledge that, for us to be aware of that, and also just fucking, man, like, just keep your eyes open, because like this is how this shit happens.
Yeah. Also on the topic of like not giving credit to Black people for all of the reasons why we're here in America, all of the reasons why these people have a platform in public spaces. The reason why Nikki Haley gets to be a member of government is because a Black person decided that it's important for non-white people to be part of government. The reason why Zarna Garg gets to be on stage as an Indian woman is because a Black woman likely decided before her that women should belong on that stage. Okay. The reason why Andrew Schultz and Akaash Singh even have a popular podcast is because their whole shtick for the first 10 years of their career was speaking in a fucking Black accent.
Yeah.
So your proxy, you can act like it's the proximity to whiteness that's going to get you ahead, but the reality is that if it wasn't for Black people, you would not have the power and the space that you do. So knock it off, okay?
I like
what?
No, I was gonna say something terrible. I don't need to.
Okay, don't do that. Yeah,
I just won't. This is growth.
Don't. This is growth. Yeah,
I got censored last week. I want to point out.
And you know what? Nobody commented saying that it should go on the main. So
so people heard it and they said that. Well, did people hear it and say that I should be canceled?
No, nobody's trying to cancel you.
That's
because our podcast knows there's no such thing as cancelization. Okay.
Yeah.
Cancelization. Anyway, listen. I gotta go try to do some pull-ups now. Just kidding. I'm not. I'm gonna go get a facial. I'll be back later this week to talk about Raheel. Right now, there's 5 shows on Bravo that I'm recapping. I'm exhausted.
Oh, wow. What are the 5 shows?
Tired. Okay. Real Housewives of Potomac, a banger. You don't watch the show Married to Medicine, you'd fucking love it. It's hilarious. Okay. It's Black doctors in Atlanta and wives of Black doctors in Atlanta. It's amazing. One of the women, I'll just give you a little. One of the women, her name is Heavenly. Her whole shtick, she's a dentist. Her whole shtick is that she gets into fights with somebody every season and says, "Your mama." And her storyline this season is that she is running for state representative of Georgia. And new Vanderpump Rules. They restarted Vanderpump Rules, and there's a brand new cast of young broke people. Real Housewives of Salt Lake City and Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Bro, that sounds exhausting.
Bro, I'm so tired. I'm so tired. I'm trying to watch these. There's a show on Apple. Everybody's talking about Pluribus or something. I actually wanted to. Is it good? Are you claiming it?
It's amazing. It's amazing. It's so good, and it's from the guy that made Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad. And the reason why you never watched Breaking Bad, right?
No.
Rhea Seehorn, I think that's her last name. She was on Breaking Bad. She is, so you know how Julia Louis-Dreyfus is our favorite comedian lady?
Yes.
Rhea is that good as a dramatic actress. She is amazing. You would love her.
I just Googled her. Where do I know her from? Well, she was in a bunch of shows I've never seen.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's so good.
I can't wait. I'm going to get in on it. All right. Well, when I get a break from watching 5 hours of Bravo TV and then recording about it, I will watch something new.
Look at you living up. You're doing you're living up to your immigrant duties by watching 5 fucking Bravo shows.
By the way, I just went on this whole thing about like how you can't make money in like shitty spaces and expect for shitty people to not show up. Meanwhile, I'm every week when a person comments on my podcast being like, I don't like her because she's a dumb, stupid immigrant bitch. I'm like, why is everybody so mean to me? It's like, of course. I know the Bravo fans are crazy. So like, I kind of asked for it. So